Now say gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Shake your feathers and point your toes. Now say gobble, gobble, gobble. Gobble, gobble, gobble.
3, 2, 1, 0.
Hey, you! Yeah, you! Come here for a minute. I want to talk to you. Gobble, 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 gobble. Mama says you're brain dead, bang your head against the wall. Can't find peace of mind, brain needs an overhaul. Bonehead, brain dead, we're all the same. You can't think straight when your heart is in pain. Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay your burden down.
The views expressed on this broadcast of the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show are those of the co-host and guest and do not necessarily reflect those of our affiliates. The topics and opinions on today's show should not be considered as medical, psychological, or professional advice. Take 12 Radio is not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. And now, here's your host,
The man, the myth, the legend.
the Monty Man.
I'm telling you the truth, man, I ain't gonna lie to you. Good guys, bad boys,
Hello.
saved by grace is the name of the game. Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay your burden down.
Welcome to the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show. Tony is here.
Good morning.
Yes, I am.
Marv is here. And our brand new co-host, Dave F. is here. Hi, Dave.
What's up, Monty?
And you would know Dave from Entitled to Overcome Solutions for Life. When, Dave? When are Solutions for Life? Today. Which is the third Friday of the month. So he'll be with us next Friday talking about, we don't really have a topic yet, do we, Dave? Or do you?
Gratitude.
Yeah, this is Gratitude Month, right? I mean, it's November. It's gobble, gobble, gobble. Shake your feathers and point your toes, or whatever that was. Didn't that just make you want to do a little dance, Marv?
Yeah.
No. Well, welcome to the show, everyone. And the topic this show is your altitude, or the altitude of your attitude. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be talking about that. And who came up with that phrase? Actually, it was Zig Ziglar, who was a big sales guy, Mr. Positive Thinking guy, and all that kind of thing. And really, what is the altitude of your attitude? Or where are you? I mean, this is the month where typically you will find in many 12-step support meetings, people coming up with the topic of gratitude because of Thanksgiving. And you'll have gratitude meetings, you'll have gratitude topics. And so this is no different. We're going to be talking about that. Yeah. So, Tony, what is your altitude of your attitude? You're doing better.
I was about to say now it's better.
Yeah, because you've been struggling with some just health issues, and things have improved because of medication. Trying to get Tony to eat anything was like trying to get me not to eat anything.
Well, my body wouldn't let me eat anything.
Your body just was rejecting it. And
the first shot they tried, it worked for the first week, and then my body just dumped. I mean, I was more in bed and throwing up than I was up and living.
Right.
And so now we tried this new shot, which is working a lot better with my insulin and my hypoglycemia and stuff. Yeah. Now I can't stop eating, and I've already had 3 meals today.
I think that's wonderful.
No, the when I was like in the worst of it, though, I had no gratitude or anything for anything. So,
well, you couldn't really think.
Yeah. So my attitude is like way higher, and
nice.
I have so much energy now.
So was it Were you having like super low blood sugars or super high blood sugars?
Low blood sugars with insulin problems.
Okay.
So it's a combo.
She's kind of like hypoglycemic / diabetic. She kind of goes back and forth. And so it's really hard to figure out.
Yeah, it's like a huge seesaw.
Yeah. So
My body's confused.
they're figuring it out, though, and that's really good news.
Yeah.
So the listeners know, our co-host Denver Wolf, he is on sabbatical, and we wish him well. He's taking care of himself. So Dave has stepped up to the plate.
Woohoo!
Batter up.
To be our co-host. That's right. Anyway, so welcome, Dave. It's good to have you here.
Stop right there. It's time for Monty Man's Weekly Wine.
Oh, boy.
I missed my baby.
She missed her baby.
I think I hear the wambulance now.
Oh, boy.
I looked that up.
Oh, boy.
I know what that is now.
So I posted a statement on Facebook.
Oh, boy.
It's always good for a whiny topic to do that. I said when you politicize everything, you paralyze your ability to be a better person. And somebody said, "Yeah, just like the Democrats." And I said I didn't mention any political party. It's funny what people will assume, right? And I mean, anybody can politicize anything, and especially around the time of elections and things like that, people tend to do that, and people are getting in arguments and fighting and beating each other up, and it doesn't look good on you folks when you do that.
It's like a non-stop barrage, whether there's elections or not. It's really getting old.
It is getting old, isn't it?
People are turning on their family members and their neighbors.
It's absurd.
It's like,
and I don't care what side of the fence you're on. Come on, grow up. I mean, gee,
I know when I saw that comment, I had to like go back up and read your statement. I'm like, he didn't even say anything.
I know. It's just.
What's that old saying? Principles before personalities.
That would be nice. But anyway, so there was a guy. I'm just, my whine is that I'm tired of all the. I don't even want to turn the television on anymore. Or it's just kind of. So we have today with the way we have our media and our electronics and so forth, you can record shows and save them, right? So we have a whole bunch of different shows recorded, and I'm watching them the other night, and here's all these commercials where the guy on the right is bashing the guy on the left, and back and forth. I'm thinking, when are they going to take these stupid things off the air? The election's over, and then I realized, whoops, these are recorded shows.
I did that the other day too.
Anyway, so there was I thought this would be a little fun. I'm only playing a piece of this because if I played this whole song, probably nobody, right, left, or everything in between, would ever listen to the show again. But there was a guy years ago, a comedic musician named Tom Lear, and he did a song amongst other songs. He was a sarcastic guy, and it's called National Brotherhood Week. So I'm just going to play this one little piece for it. I'm going to leave out all the specifics, but maybe we can just do this, shall we, for at least the rest of the week. Here's Tom Lear. Check this out.
But during National Brotherhood Week, National Brotherhood Week, it's national, everyone smile at one anotherhood week. Be nice to people who are inferior to you. It's only for a week, so have no fear. Be grateful that it doesn't last all year.
Yeah. If you want to...
The only problem is... That's the problem. It continues and continues and continues.
It does. Mm-hmm. It does. If you want to listen to that song in its entirety, you just go to YouTube and get ready, because whatever nationality you are or belief system you are, whatever, you're probably going to get a good poke from Tom Lear.
I do that first thing when I get home.
I'm telling
Well,
you.
you know, people don't have a sense of humor anymore. They can't laugh at themselves anymore.
They can't.
Everything is way too serious.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You move the pencil across the desk. What are you trying to say to me?
So I decided, I don't know, did you guys hear about this guy? I mean, everybody's identifying as, I'm not a human, I'm a giraffe.
Oh my God.
This guy,
What?
this guy,
Don't get him started.
I'm not a
Don't
guy.
get him
I'm a woman. I'm not a woman. I'm a guy. I'm not old. I'm young. Well, this one guy actually said, I identify. He's like in his 60s. I identify as a 35-year-old. I am not a 65-year-old. I'm a 35-year-old. And I'm like, you know what's really cool about that? If you could identify as anything and people have to honor it. If I'm 35, I could identify as a 65-year-old and get
and get the
discounts.
benefits.
And get benefits, right? If I'm 18, I could identify as 21 and I could drink. You can't stop me. You can't arrest me. You can't give me a ticket for that. I don't identify as that. I mean, come on. How far do you go? I identify as a dog. It goes on and on. But if we can't laugh at this, come on, folks. You got to lighten up. It's pretty hilarious. It's like, if people can't take the bottle out of their mouth and pull the needle out of their head, we got to laugh.
I identify as money then.
Do you?
Yes.
Can I spend you?
Yes.
Okay.
And I can spend myself.
All right.
What
So
did you guys have to drink this morning?
Right. Because I ain't got nothing, man.
Just my tea.
Yeah, what's in that cup, Monty?
Bang, bang, bang.
it's coffee from Uganda.
Really?
It's Uganda beans. Yep. Ralph brought it
Is
over
that
to
what
me.
that is?
Yeah.
He didn't bring me any. I'm upset.
Well, I asked him to, and I'm paying him for it. So, anyway, so during National Brotherhood Week, which is actually in February, but we kind of need it right now. One of the
Shouldn't
things
that be every week?
it should be every day, shouldn't it? Really? Or does somebody have an opinion on that? Oh, wait a minute, we can't say brotherhood.
We can't?
No, because then somebody's going to say we have to call it sisterhood, and then we have to call it personhood,
And then familyhood.
and then we can't call it Robinhood. That would be a male gender.
And a copyright.
See what I did there?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, but I have to throw this in there because this is this is one of my weekly wines, and this ties right in.
Yeah.
There's this couple that are film producers. I mean, if you've heard about this,
No.
I think they're in California.
Yeah.
They're making a movie about marriage between one man and one woman.
Okay.
Well, now they're being sued, or they're being charges brought on them by the state of California
Oh, my
because they're
gosh.
not doing a film about
They're not being inclusive.
gay
Same-sex marriage.
same-sex marriage. Yeah.
So they're not being all inclusive.
So my question is if you have a gay couple that's doing movies
film.
about same-sex marriage, then would they be mandated to do a movie about marriage between only a man and a woman?
Of course not.
Well, how's that work?
It doesn't. It just does in their head. I don't get it either. Here's the thing about this whole equality thing. If you're going to do it, you got to do it across the board, don't you? Don't you have to do it in every aspect? Or stop doing it. Stop being
Right.
such a horse's patootie.
Right.
Live and let live, right? Live and let live. You're going to do what you're going to do. That's fine, but don't make me do it.
Why
I'm
can't we
sure
all
we're going to
just
get lots of
along?
people writing in on this one.
Why can't we all just
That's
get
what I
along?
get. Why can't we just get along?
I don't. Everybody's got an agenda. Well, listen, during National Early Brotherhood Week, I want to bring this up. Steve Wallman, who did a show with me a few years ago on geriatric substance abuse, wrote into me, and he has a request. And one of the things I will say about the recovery community, it is made up of all sorts of people, all sorts of gender identification, all sorts of faith, all sorts of non-faith. There's just a whole lot of people in the recovery community, right, Tony?
Yes.
And for the most part, we seem to get along pretty good. I think maybe the rest of the world might take a little lesson from that. But one of the things, and Steve, I believe, is a Jewish gentleman, and of course I'm a Christian, and Steve's a friend of mine, and we get along just fine. Steve wrote in, He said, "Hi, Monty. It's Steve Wallman. I did a geriatric substance abuse radio spot with you a couple of years ago. I was wondering if you could do me a big favor. Right now, I am having a God forbid moment in my life. My father is dying, and due to illness in my family, I have been financially drained on top of becoming disabled myself. But this isn't about me. My father is in hospice. He is a Korean War vet. He wants to die at home. I really want to grant him that one wish, but I can't. I set a GoFundMe page to raise the money to get him home for a short while. I hate asking favors of anyone, but I know the recovery community has the ability to come through. Could you mention his GoFundMe page on your radio show? I hope I'm not asking too much, but we need the support from the recovery community." And, with all the frauds out there, the fraudulent things that people do out there, let me just tell you, this is 100% legitimate.
Yeah.
Bob Woolman, his dad, is 85 years old and is currently in hospice. And it's his wish that he can go back home and live out his remaining days with his family and his beloved dog, Pumpkin. And I'm kind of like, this guy, he's a veteran.
Yeah.
And along with many veterans, they were there for us. I don't think this is an unreasonable request.
No, not
and I
at
think
all.
with the thousands of people in the recovery community, we can get this guy home so he can live out his days at home. So I have a link at Take 12 Radio.
Oh, good.
If you go to take12radio.com, there's a button near the top of the page that says Send Bob Home. Just click on that button and it'll direct you how to do that. And no amount is too small. Let's help get this war veteran home to his family so he can live out the rest of his days with his loved ones. He was there for us, so let's.
Where is he at? Does it say?
It doesn't mention here. He's back east.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, Steve, thank you for your email. We talked about this on the Victory Report last Monday, and I want to keep mentioning this until we reach the goal that we can get him home. It's a reasonable request. I just want to go home.
Be with his doggy.
Yeah, and his family.
Well, his family too. Yes, of course.
So go to the link. It says Send Bob Home at take12radio.com. If you would pray about it, and if God puts that on your heart, I know they would really, really appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a and see, that's brotherhood right there.
Yeah.
They're not of the same faith, but we're all members of the recovery community, and we could do this for each other. I mean, come on, drop the rock, man. Just grow up a little bit. Let's help one another, maybe a little more, just today, one day at a time. If we could do that today and put our differences aside, it would be a good thing. All right, we're going to be back with some more fun. So listen to this important message about our veterans.
Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay a burden down.
In the fabric of America, they are the toughest threads, our bravest, and most selfless. They raised their hands, stepped forward, and served. For each other, for you, and me. One of the first things they learned was the code that every service member lives by. Leave no one behind. Now all of us need to live by it too, because some veterans are being left behind. 20 of them take their own lives every day. Why? It's not simple. It never is. What matters is that we're there for them, just like they were there for us. A handshake, a phone call, a simple gesture make a big difference to a veteran in crisis. Learn how to be there for a veteran at BeThereForVeterans.com. Honor the code. Be there. Leave no one behind.
Zippity-doo-dah. Ooh, sound effects.
I thought that was Cecil making sound effects.
Okay, everybody, attention. Attention! Attention!
All right.
It's time to play Take 12 Trivia.
Okay.
And this month, we're going to be talking about turkeys and the Old West. Old Western turkeys. You know, the turkeys from the western part. The western turkeys, yeah. Okay, Monty Man, go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead, do it. Do it, Monty
Is that
Man.
Oregon turkeys?
Oregon turkey. Thank you, Cecil. Well, I don't know if they're Western or not, but a little turkey trivia. This is from the American Farm Bureau Federation. And Take 12 Trivia, of course, is sponsored by the 12-Step Gazette, the award-winning recovery magazine. Visit their website at 12stepgazette.com. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5 and a bonus.
Ooh.
All right, so here's your first one. If you get this right, of course, you get a cowbell. We call it turkey bell. Turkey bell this week, or a turkey fluff. All right. Here we
Gobble, gobble.
That's always a good one when you say.
Okay. The beard of a turkey is what part of their body? And here are your choices. The black lock of hair found on the chest of the male turkey, the bright red chin of the turkey, or the feathers that adorn their cheeks. So the beard of a turkey is what? Which one of those? Marv, what do you think?
The chin deal.
The red chin of the turkey? Okay.
I'll go with him because he's been around a lot more animals than me.
I might be wrong.
Oh, okay.
What do you think, Dave? Is it the black lock of hair found on the chest of the male turkey, the bright red chin of the turkey, or the feathers that adorn their cheeks? What is the beard? Take a stab at
I'll
it.
go with chin.
The bright red
one.
chin. Okay. Well, you guys are all incorrect. It is the black lock of hair found on the chest of the male turkey.
The thing on their chin?
No, on their chest.
Oh,
On their
I was
chest.
thinking of a little doppelganger
That's
thing.
where my beard is heading.
Yeah, right. All right, here's number 2. A
I
large.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I thought it was the little deal.
Yeah,
No.
that's what I was
Right,
thinking
no.
too. Exactly.
Not according to the American Farm Bureau Federation.
What do they know?
Yeah, what do they know, right? Right. Okay, number 2. A large group of turkeys is known as what? Is it a flock, a gaggle, or a herd? What do you think, Dave?
Gaggle.
What do you think, Tony?
That's good to go, Gaggle.
Okay. What do you think, Marv? A flock, a gaggle, or a herd?
I'm going to go with flock.
Marv would be correct.
Oh, good job, Marv.
Turkey bell.
That's right. Gaggle is geese.
Geese.
Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Number 3. What is the snood of a turkey?
A what?
The snood. The snood. Is it the fluffy area of feathers around their middle? Is it the long, red, fleshy growth that hangs down over their beak? Or is it another name for the bird's talons? Talons are their claws. What do you think, Marv?
Just look at each other.
Flip a coin.
I'm humbled up. I really don't know.
Is it the fluffy area of feathers around their middle, long, red, fleshy growth that hangs down over their beak, or another name for their talons? What is the snood, Dave?
I will go with number 1, I guess.
The fluffy area of feathers around their middle?
Sure.
Tony?
I'm going to do oh, Lord. I got excited. The dippledonger thingy.
Oh,
Whatever.
on their beak?
Yeah.
Tony's correct. That is their snood. Yeah.
Finally found out what the name was.
You guys are wrong. All right. Number 3. In the turkey world, what is a poult? A poult. Is it a bald turkey with no feathers?
Oh, Lord.
Is it a baby turkey? Or is it a turkey that has been shunned by its mother? What is a poult? Marv?
I'm going to go with number 1 or A, whatever it is.
A bald turkey with no feathers? What do you think, Dave?
I'll go with number 3. I have no idea, but
A
let's
turkey
just
that
go
has
with
been
that.
shunned by its mother? Okay.
I'll take B.
B, a baby turkey? Tony's correct. It's a baby turkey.
I
a
had
poult.
no idea. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
I have to go brush up on my...
You guys are so much
I'm
more
look at a
educated.
turkey like more closely now.
Oh, wait a minute. I got mixed up with molt.
Oh.
Isn't that what you put on the ground?
Does this make
oh,
it?
no, that's mulch.
No, they lose their feathers. They're molting.
Oh, like a snake.
No,
that's
snakes
shedding.
don't have feathers.
but they do have laps.
Yeah. Do a
I
snake
still don't
have a
want to.
lap?
I don't want to find that out.
Does a snake have a lap?
What was the other one?
Do chickens have lips?
That's right.
Okay, here's the next one. What is a wattle? A wattle. WHATTLE. What's a wattle? Is it the bright red appendage on the neck? Is it the sound they make when hatching their eggs? Or is it the name? That would be ouch. Or is it the name of their mating dance? What is the wattle? Dave, what do you think?
I'll go with A or number 1.
Bright red appendage on their neck? Okay, what do you think, Tony?
I'd say C.
C, the mating dance? All right, what do you think, Marv?
I'm going to go with number 1.
Number 1, Dave and Marv are correct.
Oh,
it is
nice.
It is
Nice
the
job.
bright red appendage on their neck. That's the wattle. All right, here's your bonus. Typically, how long does it take a turkey to hatch an egg? Is it 15 days, 28 days, or 36 days, Tony?
Oh, my God. I'll say B.
B, 28 days. Dave?
Sure, why not?
Marv?
36.
36? Sorry, Marv.
Oh.
Give the turkey a break. It is 28 days.
Oh, wow.
Very good.
Is that why the Thanksgiving's always on the 28th? Isn't it? Isn't it?
No.
See
No.
if you can't laugh at yourself.
It's always on a Thursday,
Okay.
but it's not always on this. Help me. Quick, Tony, who's Paul McCartney?
He was a Beatle.
Yeah.
I looked that up.
Oh, my gosh.
I always thought it was on the 28th.
Well, that does it
What
for
kind
turkey.
of what kind of chicken is a turkey?
That's your Dunkin'.
I just want to say that I had a whole lot of fun listening to you guys be so ridiculous and turkey-like.
Need a good laugh.
It's over. Well, maybe not. Okay, almost. Oh,
Stop.
now it's over.
Thank goodness.
You're right. I'm looking on your calendar. It's the 22nd.
Yeah, this year's the 22nd. Oh, my goodness. The altitude of your attitude. Well, if it was pretty low this morning, hopefully it's a little higher today with a little humor. It's, what was it? Candid Camera years ago. The song was, "It's fun to laugh at yourself like other people do. Smile, you're on Candid Camera." You gotta lighten up, man.
Oh, I laugh at myself
You
all the
know,
time.
people gotta lighten up. Gee willikers. All right, well,
It's interesting that you remember the lyrics to that because I have no clue.
Marv, did you remember the lyrics to that?
No, but
Candid
I
Camera?
remembered the show.
Yeah. Alan Funt.
Yeah.
Alan Funt was the host.
That was a good show.
And he was a real turkey in real life. I mean, he was not a nice guy.
But he portrayed one on TV.
Yeah, he portrayed it on TV. Oh my gosh. All right. So years ago, Zig Ziglar declared, "It is your attitude more than your aptitude that will determine your altitude." So it's your attitude more than it is how smart you are. That will determine your altitude of, are you grateful? Are you a person that has a positive outlook on life? In fact, yesterday's message in church was about being positive, right? When Zig Ziglar said that, a lot of people saw it as a catchy phrase or a bit of fluff from a mere motivational speaker. After all, Zig Ziglar was a salesman. What did he know, right? Well, apparently he knew quite a bit. So the power of a positive attitude, check this out. The latest research proves that Zig was right. In fact, attitude is a better predictor of success than IQ, grade point average, or almost any other factor you can think of. Dr. Martin Seligman proved that in his monumental, groundbreaking book, Learned Optimism. He found that negative people get sick more often, are divorced more frequently, and raise kids who get in more trouble. So check this out. The doctor even found that negative people make less money. In one long-term study of 1,500 people, Group A, or 83% of the people, took their particular jobs because they believed they could make lots of money. Only 17% of them, or Group B, took their jobs because they happened to love their jobs. 20 years later, the two groups have produced 101 millionaires. The amazing thing is, only one of those millionaires came from Group A, the ones that took it because they thought they'd make a lot of money. But 100 of them came from Group B, the ones that took it because they liked what they were doing. Even more amazing, over 70% of those millionaires never went to college, and over 70% of those who became CEOs graduated in the bottom half of their class. The doctor concluded that it was their attitude more than their aptitude which determined their altitude. And so this time of year, we talk a lot about being grateful. It's hard to be grateful when you're walking around like the world's coming to an end, like you're feeling like you're worthless and everybody around you is just losers. But it's easy to feel that way if you listen to the voices of today's media. If you pay too much attention to Facebook or Twitter or any of those, really you can saturate yourself with all this stuff coming at you and be in a perfectly good mood when you turn on the TV, and in an hour you're pissed off, or you're depressed, or right?
Yeah.
It's really easy to fall into that. So as people in recovery, we know that the way we think has an awful lot to do with the kind of life we produce. And we're taught in our recovery programs, faith-based as well as secular, that we might need to change the way we're thinking, or at least the way we approach our thinking.
Attitude is everything.
It is. It really is. And so this is a month of Thanksgiving. Some people feel forced in 12-step meetings to talk about gratitude. Oh, great. We're going to talk about gratitude again. I kind of like having a gratitude meeting once a month, at least, to keep us kind of in that frame of mind. And,
bah humbug.
Yeah. Right, Marv?
Tell it like it is, Marv. Tell it like it is.
Well, the fact is there is a lot of stuff that supports negativity. It is hard to be grumpy when you are grateful, when you remind yourself what to be grateful for. And I'm going to open this up to you guys, but I want to share with you something that happened to Marcia and I and our oldest son, something we did last night. We went and saw the movie Beautiful Boy. And this is with Steve Carell plays the father of a methamphetamine addict named Nick Sheff. Now, Nicholas Sheff, this is a real person. This is based on a real story. And I've seen a lot of movies about addiction and alcoholism and recovery and that kind of thing. This movie broke me. It was in a small theater in Salem. It was the Salem Cinema, and the room is not very big. There's probably maybe 75 seats in the whole room. So it was very intimate. It was packed. The theater was packed. You could have heard a pin drop through that whole movie. And it showed the struggle that goes on between the addict, the family, the getting into recovery and relapsing, back into recovery and relapsing, back into recovery and relapsing, and finally an attempted suicide because Nick Sheff felt like this is what he was doomed for the rest of his life. He didn't want to live that way and put his family through it anymore. And I won't give away the end of the movie, but it was so accurate, and it brought back, even some of the situations that happened were exactly some of them that I had been through. And I sat there, and I was back there. I was back where this kid was. And there was a lady sitting 2 people away from me, and she was just weeping. And there was obviously people that have loved ones that have been going through this at the theater. And I thought to myself, how grateful I am that I'm sucking air, that I'm above ground after everything that I'd been through. The enemy in my soul wanted to take me out and kill me. My addict wanted to do what it wanted to do when it wanted to do it, because it was so selfish. And it was working in cooperation with the enemy in my soul, even though it wasn't intentional. But they were working together to take me out. And I'm alive today, and I'm 63 years old, 21 years. I haven't had a drink in 21 years, and there's a reason for that. And the bottom line is, God did for me what I could not do for myself. And he did it through programs like Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. Back then we didn't have CR, we had Alcoholics for Christ. And having a host of friends and people around me that cared enough to call me on my stuff, even if I would get offended by it. Because I'll get over the offense, but I might not get over being dead. And having those kind of people in my life, and this movie brought me back to that. And I felt I was heartsick for this kid. By the way, Nicholas Sheff has just recently celebrated 8 years.
Nice.
The real Nicholas Sheff. But is there something in your guys' life that you reflect on that makes you grateful today? What makes you grateful? What lifts your altitude of your attitude? That did it for me last night. And several things do throughout the year, but that was my thing. So who wants to start? What is the thing that brings you back to an attitude of gratitude? Who wants to give it a go?
I'm thinking right now. There's so many things.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's so many things. I mean, I get reminded of it every day.
Yeah.
Right? Because I work with people struggling with addiction.
Right.
And so I remember, it brings me back to, to those days, when I was struggling or was trying to figure it out, in my, several attempts at recovery,
Yeah. You weren't just one and done, right?
Well, no. Yeah. So I could give me some information and I'll adapt it to what I think works for me.
Yeah.
I did that for a while.
Yeah.
But being able to, I probably on a daily basis, if not, several times a week, I remember what it was like when God got a hold of me. Like that last time where it was like, I knew that without a doubt that God was working in my life and he removed the obsession. I'm sitting in jail, which a lot of us kind of come to realization in that new life,
right?
Because I was one of those guys that was just gonna like turn left into the treatment center. You hear some people say,
sure,
I'd be forced to get there, but I get reminders of where I could easily go back to if I allow myself. Because it wasn't a very nice place. I was one of those guys that, if everybody would just do things my way, everything would be fine. It's like everyone else has a problem except me.
Yeah.
Well, when I stepped out of everyone else's picture for a little bit, I finally realized that the problem was me. In order for everything else to kind of start healing, I had to fix myself. And so I get reminded of that every day. Now at the same time, I get bombarded with a lot of negativity, so it makes it sometimes they cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Some days.
Yeah.
But I try to go back and remember, what I'm grateful for. The things that I get to do now that I don't.
Right.
Versus have to.
Right.
I think that's probably the biggest thing that I appreciate today is getting to do things instead of having to do things.
And that's more than just a cutesy little buzz statement. That really is real.
Right.
I had to do a lot of things growing up, but a lot of it you kind of change the way you look at it, depending on the altitude of your attitude, right?
Well, that's where the attitude change comes in, is the way that you, or at least the way that I looked at things, is I had to look at it from everything from a different perspective. Like it isn't about you, right? Or the other guy, or whatever political party. It's what can I change in myself to make things better?
Yeah.
For me and my family, and how can I give back to how can I give back to society?
Sure.
Because I could have gone the other direction. It was like, there's no way that I can make amends for everything that I've done.
Yeah, so heck with it, right?
So, right, I could have gave up and said, F it. But God had a different plan for me. He showed me that different direction that he wanted me to go. So now I get to look at it from the perspective of, as I get to, my way of making amends is by helping other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Tony, Marv?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Marv.
Well, I'm probably not going to be very popular.
Oh, goody.
I like these ones.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of come at this in a little different way. And
sure.
And to be honest, to tell you about my character defects a little bit, when I first came into the program, anybody that walked up to me that was smiling scared the crap out of me.
Right.
Didn't trust him, right?
I didn't trust him. I didn't want anything to do with him.
Yeah.
And another part of my character defect, maybe, is I'm not pretentious.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, it's impossible for me to pretend something
that you're not,
that I'm not.
Yeah. Right.
And so through the years, as this topic of gratitude, has, through the meetings and all that stuff, one of the major things that, and oh, by the way, I'm willing to change my beliefs too today. I used to believe something, and that was it, But
right.
God, in my opinion, has shown me that, don't put him in a box.
Yeah, be willing to be open to.
So, yeah. So what I started to say was, if you read the bigger book, a lot of that in there, when it comes to things like being grateful, the topic of love, and things like that, have nothing to do with feelings.
You're right.
It has everything to do with action.
Yeah.
And to me, that's kind of an escape thing, in a way, because that tells me I don't have to put on this show of being Mr. Grateful.
When you're not.
In fact, I can't do it.
Yeah.
And so I struggle with that, because there's a part of me that thinks that I should be all Mr. Tiptoe through the tulips. And
that you should act a certain way?
Yeah, because I'm so grateful for,
right.
So
that's got to fit in a certain box.
The fact of the matter is, my gratefulness, the way I look at it, is in my action.
That's really good. Yeah.
And so I do have problems with that.
Yeah.
Not the action, but the emotion, trying to get the emotional part and the feelings to line up,
Right.
So I'm not sitting here running anybody down that's grinning and, oh, I'm so grateful,
Right.
But it bugs me.
But sometimes that's a mask, and they really aren't.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
they're putting on
That's my problem. That's
right.
what I think, and it bothers me that I think that way.
Gotcha.
But
because sometimes they really are. They really are grateful.
Well, my trust level is still
sure.
So I really depend on God. When that little intuitive nudge is there, I hear somebody have a need that I can help with. That to me is showing
your gratitude.
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
So anyway,
because there are a lot of people that are just bubbly, and a train could fall on them and they're like, oh, well, That wasn't that interesting.
Well, and I think like people judge your level of, I don't know what I'm trying to say, where you're at in your life,
your
by
serenity,
by how big your smile is. And I'm with Marv. I'm kind of the same way,
right?
I mean, I all the power to people that are really doing the deal and can walk around with a smile on their face. I question it, but the thing that I don't like is like that it's almost expected. Like if you say you're, a Christian, let's say, and saved and filled with the Spirit or whatever, that you're supposed to walk around with this big grin on your face,
right,
swinging puppy dogs and rainbows. And I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't act that way, and I think part of it is
right.
Some of my, the old self, the character defects. But I'm, I've got all those things, but I don't walk around with a big grin on my face.
Maybe some of that though is just our personality. It's
That's what I'm saying.
You guys have heard me talk about both my boys. Cameron is Larry the Cable Guy, and he's love you, Dad, love you, Mom, all the time, and he's always ready for a big hug and all that. He's very positive outwardly, but he deals with anxiety disorder, right? Colin, who doesn't deal with any of that stuff. He's Mr. Serious, and he's very focused, and he's businesslike, and very seldom will you see him, yakking it up. When he does, it's really funny and it's really refreshing, but they're two different people, but their serenity level, based on their relationship with the Lord, is the same. They have that. They can put their head down on their pillow at night, go to sleep. They're very helpful. Both of them are. But if you measured their level of gratitude by their facial expression, you would probably be mistaken.
Right.
So it is in their actions, like you were saying. Yeah. Tony, what about you?
Well, I used to think I had to put be a people pleaser and
right
talk the talk, and I walk the walk, but I get reminded every day I don't have to prove to people through words, and like what David was saying was actions, but little reminders for me are come multiple times a day. When I go home, I have a roof over my head. I got my little animals, even though they, are ornery at times.
Yeah.
I have little bits and pieces here and there
right.
that I grab onto when I'm having a bad day. But when I really need a huge reality check, I go by that big building right over there, Lynn County Jail, because that's where the beginning of the ending started.
Oh, okay.
That's before I went back to Tacoma and came back down. So
right.
Yeah, so that's
so
when
that
I
gives
really
you a reminder,
need
yeah.
a huge attitude check.
Sure.
And be grateful. And I can even point out my window. That's how well I knew where I was at. So.
I have one of those windows too.
Yeah. I'm second top. So yeah, James and I were driving by the other day, and I'm I hate driving by this place. And then I'm well, wait a minute. If I wasn't in here, I wouldn't be here. So
right.
It's just little things I grab onto every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not perfect at it whatsoever. Trust me. I have my moments, but I just grab onto something after that.
Is there any validity though to sometimes the way we carry ourselves does show the level of our gratitude? I mean, when I see a guy walking down the street, shuffling his feet, looking down at the ground, he won't even look up. There's one thing I am convinced of, and I don't even have to meet him. He believes he deserves that. And I wonder if there isn't some validity to the way we carry ourselves. Now, the way we carry ourselves can show in our actions, helping others, because that guy, he isn't helping anybody. He's just woe is me, and, he's kind of like Eeyore, right? Mm-hmm. So if you look like Eeyore and you're walking like Eeyore, you might be an Eeyore.
I can relate to that.
Still there.
Good morning, Eeyore. What's good about it? But see, Mar's laughing right now under that mustache.
Yeah,
right?
I'm grinning.
I think there's some validity to the way we carry ourselves.
Oh, sure. I mean, it also, the same thing with walking around with a big grin on your face. You can portray a certain
You can.
image by just the way you carry yourself when you walk. I mean,
Sure.
People do it all the time.
I don't know
As a defense
for
mechanism.
some of us, because, I mean, as much as people in the meetings like to say, well, we're all the same, and that to me is hogwash. But anyway, for some of us, the way we come through our recovery is going to be different.
Sure.
I don't care what you say. It's not all going to be the same.
We are unique in many areas.
Well, a bigger book says we're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Sure.
But my point is some people are walking like that, what you described as a defense mechanism.
Oh, yeah. Stay away. Stay away.
away.
Yeah, it's too painful.
And
to
some
get
of
close.
us,
Yeah.
now I'm talking about me, still are in defense and survival mode sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't like being there, but sometimes I am. And so I've trained horses for over 30 years.
Yeah.
Body language is one of my major deals.
Yeah.
Because that's how
Right.
horses communicate,
Right.
body language. And so I can see it, Somebody comes in and there's so many reasons why they're not, hey, guys, how you doing?
Right.
Type stuff. So.
Sure. Well, here's a little story about this is an interesting person. This is one of those guys that's kind of bubbly, and not everybody's going to be this. But I just thought this was kind of cool. It says if you've ever gone through a toll booth, you know that your relationship to the person in the booth is not the most intimate you'll ever have. It is one of life's frequent non-encounters. You hand over some money, you might get change, you drive off. I have been through every one of the 17 toll booths on the Oakland-San Francisco Bay Bridge on thousands of occasions and never had an exchange worth remembering with anyone. Well, late one morning in 1984, headed for lunch in San Francisco, I drove toward one of the booths. I heard loud music. It sounded like a party or a Michael Jackson concert. I looked around. No other cars with their windows open. No sound coming from trucks. I looked at the toll booth. Inside it, the man was dancing. What are you doing? I asked. He said, I'm having a party. What about the rest of the people? I looked over at other booths. Nothing moving there. He said, they're not invited. I had a dozen other questions for him, but somebody in a big hurry to get somewhere started punching his horn behind me, and I drove off. But I made a note to myself, find this guy again. There's something in his eye that says there's magic in his toll booth. Months later, I did find him again, still with the loud music, still having a party. Again, I asked, what are you doing? He said, I remember you from the last time. I'm still dancing. I'm having the same party. I said, look, what about the rest of the people? He said, stop. What do those folks look like to you? He pointed down the row of toll booths. They look like toll booths. No, he said. I said, okay, I give up. He said, they look like vertical coffins. What are you talking about? I can prove it, he said. At 8:30 every morning, live people get in, then they die for 8 hours. At 4:30, like Lazarus from the dead, they reemerge and go home for 8 hours. Their brain is on hold, dead on the job, going through the motions. I was amazed. This guy had developed a philosophy, a mythology about his job. I couldn't help but asking the question, why is it different for you? You're having a good time. He looked at me. He said, I know you were going to ask that question. I'm going to be a dancer someday. He pointed to the administration building. My bosses are in there, and they're paying for my training. 16 people dead on the job, and the 17th, in precisely the same situation, figures out a way to live. That man was having a party where you and I would probably not last 3 days. The boredom. He and I did have lunch later, and he said, I don't understand why anybody would think my job is boring. I have a corner office, glass on all sides. I can see the Golden Gate, San Francisco, the Berkeley Hills, half the Western world vacations here, and I just stroll in every day and practice dancing. So this was all in the way he looked about his circumstances. I got to tell you, I worked for Loomis Armored Car years ago. I lasted about 2 weeks. I was in this little booth, you know, that really thick square glass that you can barely see through? That was my walls. And I had a mirror in the corner that went out to this little tiny window. It wasn't any bigger than my fist, where you could see the Loomis Armored Cars pulling in. They would honk. I pushed the button. The gate would open up. They'd come in. They'd drop their .38 calibers in this slot. I push another button. They'd pull the car in. And that was my job. And it was 12 hours a day.
Oh.
In that little itty bitty booth. Now, there was one other room I could go to. It was the restroom. And it was out one door, and there it was right there. And I mean, this booth was smaller than this audio booth.
Oh, wow.
It was tiny. And I got to tell you, I admire this guy. I could no more have that attitude in there. And maybe if I'd heard that story, but it was all the way he looked at it. You know, it doesn't mean that we're dancing necessarily. But how do we look at our circumstances? Do we look? I mean, we are people, all of us sitting here, who really, in many ways, shouldn't even be alive. At the very least, can we be grateful for the fact that we're sucking air and we're above ground? And we don't always display that with dancing and a big, huge smile. But I think all of us in this room are grateful. Beyond grateful that we're still doing what we're doing. And all of us are effective in helping other people see the truth that there is hope and recovery. And I think that's a huge thing. That's a responsibility that we've been given because we've been given this gift of sobriety. I just think that sometimes it's just a matter of looking at things differently, like this guy does. You know, doesn't mean we're doing backflips.
I do dance in my backyard, though.
Do you?
Yeah, ask James all the time.
We'll have to drive by someday. And
it's gated. You'll have to fly over.
But just because we're not doing backflips and we're not dancing doesn't necessarily mean we don't have an attitude of gratitude. And, you know, I don't know. I think a lot of it, what does it say? Our gratitude, I think in NA, our gratitude speaks, you know, when we're helping another addict. That's how our gratitude speaks. And sometimes going to meetings, being present at a meeting, being willing to share your experience, strength, and hope is more help than you will ever know in helping somebody who's new.
Well, and especially with those of us who have any long-term recovery.
Yeah.
Especially I found in NA meetings, there's not a whole lot of long-term recovery.
Right.
So, I mean, anytime you go out and hit an NA meeting just to share your experience, strength, and hope, you're giving back, you know.
Yeah, your gratitude speaks when you share the NA way. And it's one of the things that it says, you know. And in Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, reaching out, being the hand that welcomes somebody. Your gratitude speaks when you're doing that, pouring coffee, volunteering, doing service work. There's just all sorts of ways to express your gratitude. Well, listen, we're out of time, and I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving
when that comes, and whether you eat turkey or
tofurkey
or turducken,
or some of us will be eating crow if we're hanging out with in-laws. We might eat a little crow.
I think you need to practice some gratitude.
I don't mean literally.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Thanksgiving's on the 28th, so we're good.
22nd.
I know.
All right, our closing song is by After the Chase. It's entitled Grateful Heart. Check them out. Here we go.
My heart once empty overflows. Your relentless mercy floods my soul. Love I so. Oh, so I sing. My heart once wayward and alone. Here in your courtyard, found a home. You became my father and my mother, and the dearest friend I've ever known. Oh, so I sing my offering, my finest gifts, my very best I bring. Though my song could never show how good you are, when I sing to you, I sing from a grateful heart. My heart once broken lives again. Your blood is flowing through my veins. Oh, my sweet Redeemer, you will be my Lord forever and always. Yeah. So I sing my offering, my finest gifts, my very best I bring. Though my songs could never show how good you are, when I sing to you, I sing from a grateful heart. Grateful, I'm grateful, so grateful, so I sing my offering, my finest gifts, my very best I bring. Though my songs could never show how good you are, when I sing to you, I sing from a grateful heart. Give myself to you. I give myself to you.
That's After the Chase with their song, Grateful Heart. For more of their great positive music, visit their website at afterthechase.com. Hey, listen, what are you grateful for? Have you expressed your gratitude to others? Are you grateful perhaps for some of the things God never gave you because he knew better? Think about the things that you have asked for over the years that you didn't receive, that really was because God had your best interests at heart. And then what about the things that you did receive, even when you didn't ask for them? The wonderful things in life, the relationships. Take time to practice a little more brotherhood this week, this month, and let people know that you're grateful that they're in your life. Until our next broadcast, this is the Monty Man, along with the Take 12 Recovery Radio family, and we are extremely grateful for each and every one of you. And we are wishing God's perfect serenity for you. Bye-bye now.
Good guys, bad boys, we're all the same. Saved by grace is the name of the game. Turn around, hit the ground, time to lay a burden down.
This has been a broadcast of KHLT Recovery Broadcasting.
'Cause she's a super cat, she's super kitty, meow.
Yeah, kitty, 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 kitty.